Yo, Callum Hems here, back with another book review. This time I'm reviewing the book The Road by Cormac McCarthy. A little bit about my videos. I'm going to spoil the book for you, so read it first. I do recommend the book. If you haven't read it, then stop this video now and read it because it's fantastic. Second piece of information about my videos. I can't be asked to do any editing, so there's going to be no cuts, and I'm just going to speak for 10 minutes about the book, and that's all. So let's get into it. First of all, why did I read the book? This is my thoughts before reading the book. The reason I wanted to read it is because it only has two characters. I'm writing a novel at the moment which only has two characters, so I thought I might actually learn something by reading a novel that only has two characters. I did read online, people go, oh, The Road has only two characters. Not true, of course there are many other characters that come and go as the road progresses, and that's what keeps the tension going, and the certain thieves, criminals come along, and even some people who become friends for a short while of time. So it's not that it only has two characters, it has two main characters, but also we can include the guy's wife as a character, because that's a huge part of the story that I think a lot of people have misunderstood, that the wife is actually the third character in here. She's extremely important, even though she's not actually in the book. She's in the past, she's in the flashbacks. She's a big part of the psychology of what happens to the man, not the boy, funnily enough. The boy doesn't seem to remember the mum a lot, but the man certainly does, so I would say she's a third character, even though she's not mentioned. So yeah, that kind of trade into my own right about, my novel at the moment that I'm working on does only have two characters. Perhaps I need to add something in there, but that's for me to decide. Why else did I start reading this book? I wanted to learn a bit more about conflict, what drives plots of books. Came to a lot of guys say every book must have conflict. That's so vague, and what does it mean? After reading The Road, I realised it's not conflict, it's tests, it's trials and tests. Every book doesn't have to have conflict like a big villain. It just has to test the character to see how strong they are. That's what I love about, the stories that I love. It's about characters being tested, being put through trials, and showing you how brave and courageous they can be. I love stories like that. And I wanted to understand a bit more about plots, because people talk about plot and how books must have plots, but then we've got people like Henry Miller, who has basically no plot at all, or Catcher in the Rye, which seems to have no, not the classical structure of a plot. So I was wondering about the classical structure of plots. So let's talk about after reading The Road, and how I interpreted some of those things. I already said there's a lot of trials and tests in The Road that the characters go through. That is what makes it interesting. If you've read it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, that pretty much all the time the characters are being tested and we get to follow that through. What's interesting in The Road is that there's a lot of trials, a lot of tests, and each one is different. So as a reader, we're still interested, we're still hooked. The characters are being tested again. The characters are being tested again. But every time they're tested in a different way. Even though they're walking into houses and searching the houses, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, we need to go into this house and search, see what we can find, and then come back out again. Well, every time they go into the house, something different happens. You never know what's going to be inside. So I think that's really, really clever. Some people have described Cormac McCarthy as a genius. Good writer, for sure. Genius, that's up to you. Whatever you want to call him. Just I would call him. This is art. He's an artist, and this is a great piece of art. And the way that he has been able to write, they go into a house, they search, they come out again, over and over through the book, keep the reader interested, and every time have a different experience. They go into a boat at one point, and he searches in the boat, they find different things, they find villains, the boy is shocked in a lot of the scenes, so the tests are always different, and that's what's great. Just going to see, because I have my notes on my laptop, so I'm just going to see what's going on. About the plot. The plot, it does have a plot. It's a massive spoiler alert. Again, turn off now if you don't want me to ruin the book. The father dies. So we do have some certain climax at the end of the book where this plot leads up all the way through to this big event at the end, which is the most emotional one. That was really interesting for me to see as a writer, thinking about conventional plot lines, which people go, oh, you must have a plot. Well, I hate this, like I've said in another review, rising plot, fall, black moment, and come back up again. Actually, we end on a black moment. The father dies, and then the boy meets another family. Daniel Green, in another review, said his interpretation of the ending was that there's no hope, that they'll actually, it seems positive that he meets, the boy meets this new family, but actually it's not, because he'll go through the same things and have the same traumas and the same experiences of going into a house, searching for things, seeing dead people, and then, coming out again. So there is no hope. And also the fact that the father dies, there is no hope. And it's like that connection between the father and the son of love is really the thread through the book of hope, and at the end it's cut off. So I love Daniel Green's interpretation of the ending, where it's just like, there's not even any more love here, it's just surviving in this fucked up world, which is amazing, because I'm so glad that somebody else can express that actually we are all suffering in this world, and it's fucking shit, but there is love, and even that dies. Fuck it. And I love, there's comfort in the fact that somebody else can express that, which is just amazing. So the plot, love it really. For me as a writer, I can see that we go, this escalating plot line, and at the end we have this big emotional event where it's the main thing, the punch basically of the book, and then maybe a little hope where he meets a new family, but is it really hope at all? So yeah, it's a great plot. It certainly does have a plot. No one mentioned that it was a coming-of-age story. I'm surprised of the reviews that I saw, because it is a coming-of-age story. We gradually see the frame between the father and the son change as we go through the book. So the boy starts really innocent, but as the story develops, and especially as the story develops near the end of the book, the boy starts to see that the man is infallible, that he does have weaknesses. The boy in one scene questions, are you brave? Are you real brave? And the dad says, just medium. So we understand that the boy is changing his perspective through this whole book. And as a matter of fact, because the boy has grown up in this world, eventually becomes stronger than the father, because the father is held back by his past, his memories of his wife, and memories of the past world and how it was. But the boy grows up in this world, so it's like, Bane, I was born into the darkness, kind of thing. So we see that, and we see that the boy comes of age through the story, which is awesome. I'm going to go on for a little bit longer than 10 minutes. I said I would, but just to give you another quote. No, actually I'm not. I'm going to leave it there because 10 minutes is the rule. So see you later.